God, I can't see. My glasses are filthy. God, I can't see. My glasses are filthy. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Ron. Hi, Fred.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Bearing up?
Maria, did we ever get a video or did we ever get a PDF or something of the signs?
I thought something got sent out, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. And I'm not sure it was a video. I'm not sure. Something came, though,
It did?
I thought, or maybe it was just a reference to.
Right. Last week, Maria said we're still working on it,
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it was.
but I don't think we got anything since then. Hi, John.
Liz is having a little trouble getting on. She's on her iPad. So she's probably talking to Maria trying to get on.
Hello, John.
Yes, you're on.
I'm in. Hallelujah.
Good.
Did you start?
No, we're waiting for you.
Okay.
I told him to be a little
Sorry.
late. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
okay.
I went through the town website and then it worked.
Oh, good.
So is everyone here?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
then I would like to call the meeting to order. Tuesday, June the 14th, 2021. We have just one item on our agenda this evening. 761 Boston Post Road. Applicant is Harold Blank at the Madison Arts Cinema for a major alteration in downtown Village District per section 30 for a digital sign. Is Mr. Blank here?
Am.
Yep. Right
Good
there.
evening.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So would you like to start the presentation, what you're requesting?
We are requesting that we be able to use illustrations, color, and change the marquee at a rate of every 30 seconds with a different message. I have submitted a few tapes, videos of a marquee I operate up in near the Boston market that changes every 8 seconds so that you can see how a rapid changing video digital sign works. I have submitted a video of the Madison Art Cinema marquee that is, and on that video, it changes every 30 seconds.
Where is that video? Do you?
Yeah, we haven't seen them yet.
Maria has.
I have them, but I can only show them. I couldn't send them to anybody because they wouldn't have been able to open them.
I thank you for helping me. And that is pretty much basically what we want to do. We believe the use of illustrations actually enhances the marquee and also makes it easier to identify the picture easier than actually reading it, because the images are widely used on social media by the various studios. We feel that the need to change the marquee on a basis of about 30 seconds, that you really won't even notice the change. And whereas we have numerous pictures playing, numerous films coming, and numerous policies that affect our operation, the use of the marquee in promoting the theater is critical, especially when it already existed when we got the theater. And what we are requesting, actually, Arnold was doing for some 5 years anyway, without permission. So it has been done. And I think during those years, nobody really complained about it, that I'm unaware. It just seems to me that we have this marquee and it should be used to the benefit of the movie theater to enhance our business and so forth.
Well, I think we should start by seeing the videos, as we have not been able to see them. So maybe you can introduce each one.
Are they available to be seen now? I can't show them.
So do you want it?
No.
I have I can do the Warwick one first and then the
Yeah.
Madison one?
Whichever, do the Warwick one.
Okay,
The one you're going to see first
okay,
is of the Warwick Theater in Marblehead, Massachusetts.
sure. Can I just, why is there two Matt Williams?
Because I am on two screens.
Okay, I just want to make sure somebody else wasn't logged in as you.
Just
Okay.
One big enough for me to see.
Okay.
But the video at the Warwick is a little bit larger in size, is downtown. Marblehead is a population of 23,000 people, a very similar demographic to that of Madison. It's an upscale sailing community. If anybody knows Marblehead, this is a twin theater, same as Madison. And when the marquee was first built, the town did not allow the theater to use it with color or with changes. That was modified post-COVID. So if you want to show the video, it's 45 seconds long.
Thank you.
Oh, tell me that.
You started in the middle of it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can. That's actually in the middle of the movie. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's better.
Go ahead, play it. Now, as I say, that video rotates at approximately 8 seconds every message. Is in a downtown street, just like Madison. It's not a 4-lane road. It's actually a 2-lane road. But it is just downtown in Marblehead.
Did you want to watch it again before I show the other one?
I think we can just see the second one. Unless anyone would like to see that again.
No.
This marquee, this one, it rotates every 30 seconds, and I think it's 2 minutes long. Unfortunately, that street light has a tendency to wash it out. I'd like to find out who put that in the middle of the sign. There is a graphic there, but it's pretty washed out by the street light. Now, we also have 2 stills. Do you have those? They're there. We took, one is of 3 billboards, the other one is of Shape of Water. These are some stills that were actually, that Arnold Gorlick used back when he had the theater.
That's all I have.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for watching them.
Well, clearly the 30-second one is infinitely preferable, in my opinion, than the one that's between 6 and 9 seconds. That's a lot of activity. I understand the idea of having the graphics, the photographs of actors and actors, and an image that would be recognizable because of advertising somewhere else. That actually makes a lot of sense, I think. I was looking at your letter, Mr. Blank, and all the things that you would do. And I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Okay. The first one was static color images on a message, which is what we've seen. Lettering in black and white and color. Now playing movies and coming soon. The next one, advertise event cinema. I was just wondering what that was.
Event cinema would be when and if we get the opera or a ballet, instead of a movie title, it is a ballet, a a concert film, an opera, a film about an art series.
So you might get the operas from the Met.
I am working with Fathom right now
Okay.
to allow me to play the operas live from the
Okay.
Met. However, the Met needs to approve me.
Okay. And then the others, to advertise policies at the cinema, pricing and special pricing of shows, gift cards, special concession promotions. Is that if you have different kind of food offering or
Actually, I don't see using it for much of concession. I see using it for special occasion gift books available. I see using it for bargain matinees every day before 1:30, $7. Any key policy of the movie theater.
Okay. Well, I understand why you would want to do that. I would like to see a preponderance of the actual information about the movies. And
Well, they will be there. We're gonna, I mean, if I have 6 or 7 messages that are rotating, they're probably going to be, 4 to 5 movies, and there'll probably be a couple policies. We believe that in being able to market our policies, whether we have a gift card promotion going on, or, as I say, special occasion gift books for sale, as being part of our operation and critical to the long-term success of the theater.
okay, so you said it's a proportion of 6 to 2. Is that roughly what you said? That it would cycle through that?
I would say it would be in the proportion of 75% movies, 25%.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we are a movie theater and that's what we are predominantly selling.
Right, right. Well, I have to say, I think, given the problems that everybody's had, including your business, the last 2 years, we certainly want to encourage your business in town and maintain the popularity of the theatre. It's been a wonderful part of town. So I like the idea of having color, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And I also think that the town has got used to having that digital board. It hasn't had a lot of action because we didn't want that at the beginning. But now I think it's not a quantum leap, it's a small change, but I think it's potentially a very good change.
And I do believe that 30 seconds,
Yeah,
because I originally had asked for 10 seconds and automatically went back to make it more amenable, I guess.
and I think the 30 seconds interval is a good thing. I'd like to invite my committee to make comments. Matt?
I'm not going to go first.
Oh, right.
I know what I'm going to say, but I don't want to influence anybody else, which I know I probably wouldn't.
That was my idea.
What do you think, Ron?
Well, Fred, what do you think?
Is Fred on? Is he there?
I think he's muted. Fred, you're muted.
You're muted, Fred. Unmute yourself.
Fred. Oh, no.
What happened?
I don't know where he is. Fred, unmute yourself.
Fred, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Or Fred.
Send him a message. Is he trying?
I don't know. I don't think I can ask to unmute, but I don't think I can unmute him. Hit the button.
Is
Click on the microphone, Fred.
Okay, so well, while we're waiting for Fred, I think we should move on. Ron,
All right. Well, I agree with certain things you said, Liz, but I disagree with some other things some on principle and some on design. On principle, and I think I mentioned this last time. Well, there were a couple of things actually. I'm going to sort of be all over the place. Arnold originally did try to use animation and all of that, despite our objection. And then when we objected again, he went back to the simple typography message, and so he really sort of didn't use animation and pictures without our permission in the long run. So that's one thing. The other is that last time I mentioned precedent. Some of the advertisement, while I'm sure it's valuable, it sets a precedent for the town and for the other vendors, other shopkeepers in town, who would probably like to do the same thing, whether it be on a billboard or whether it be on a whiteboard, or more stuff on their windows, bigger signs on top of their buildings. The now hiring sign in Warwick, I think, is uncalled for, because everybody could do that. And they do it, but with smaller signs in their window, now help wanted, and so on. I understand that. But this is major. This is huge, and the typography is large, and it's not about giving advantage over one over another. It's just setting a precedent, which I think is probably the wrong thing to do. Also, in some of your on the video, you had two messages saying the very same thing on the same billboard. It was called, I think it was called special occasions. Both, you had special occasions twice on the same image, one on the right and one on the left. They looked different, but it both said special occasions. That kind of thing, I mean, that sort of hits people over the head. So that's the precedent issue, I think, is a big one for me. The other is the still images, the professionally designed still images, the billboard images designed by the studios, I think are quite not. I think I would be in favor of those. The homemade ones, which are not professionally designed, and no disrespect, but they are garish. The typography is too large. It's not designed well. And it's homemade. And I understand you can't employ professional graphic designers every time you want to put up an image. I get that. However, it doesn't look that good. And that's my purview. And I would like to see that handled in a more tasteful fashion. Not sure how you can go about that, but that's my opinion. So among other things, those are the highlights of what I can comment on.
well, Ron, I think you're right about the precedent setting. That's always been a concern for us. But I don't know, maybe John can say something about this, but if anybody wanted to do anything even slightly similar to this, they would have to get an application to do it.
Yeah,
And
but
I-
that's a precedent. They would say, the movie theater did it, and I can too, and we'd have to agree.
Well, would we?
Yeah,
Well, it would be tough. It would be tough. You'd have to have a good reason not to.
that's right.
May I interject two things? One, movie theaters all over the country have marquees.
Yeah, they do.
There's a precedent for movie theaters to have marquees and other businesses, a bookstore, not to have one. Ron, you mentioned animation, in my letter, I noted that we would not do animation.
Well, I guess I misspoke. The visual images of, you know, Spider-Man, and I think that some of that is okay. But as I said, the still images provided by the studios, I actually think that those are probably a good idea. And I think that I would not object to at all.
Matt, what is your opinion?
I just have a couple of questions. So the size of the variable marquee, is that the same in the as the one in Marblehead as the Madison one, or are they roughly the same size?
They're roughly, the Warwick one is a little larger.
It is larger.
I do
Okay.
not know the exact dimension. I apologize for not getting that. Obviously, the Warwick also has its own name above it. And it was designed that way to replace an original marquee with the same letters.
Yeah. So I kind of gathered they were similar in size. I just wanted to know because the Warwick on top really makes that a more powerful
On the
thing.
bottom, there should be.
I
So
agree with that comment, and it is two-sided. So there's one facing that way. And one-
okay, I didn't even quite pick that up, but
No, you can't see it, but it's quite large.
so the delay between changing the message in the Warwick one was what again?
Before we had.
About 8 seconds.
Okay, it appeared to be a little quicker than that at times, but maybe I just was mistaken.
You go back again, Fred.
Some of them might have been 6. I tried to time them and they were
Okay.
between 6 and 9.
Okay. So I think the 30 is certainly preferable to the 6 and 9.
March.
I personally think that we could probably tolerate something a little more frequent because I don't think it's any more of an offense to have them at 20 or something. I think it actually
March again.
serves its purpose of conveying its message or messages more efficiently and probably would be less of a distraction, people stopping in their tracks, waiting for the thing to change. It's my personal opinion. And I wouldn't find it to be, a reduced time interval to be a problem. However, I think what I saw on the Warwick one was definitely too fast. Okay. For what that's worth.
I've gone out and timed billboards on highways. And there's one at exit 55 over in East Haven. And that one changes at about 10 or 11 seconds.
Yes.
That's a highway. That's not in town.
But
Yeah,
that seems to be the
I
average.
did that before and lost the whole thing.
Yeah, and a lot of times that isn't fast enough, in my opinion, but you're also going 65 miles an hour or possibly more. So, but anyway, I'm not sure that that's all that relevant, but I think Ron is very
I'm sorry.
he's very spot on with his eye of the graphics and the design, and I didn't pick up on it specifically, but I could tell there was definitely a difference in quality of things. And I think the professional movie images will actually have a familiarity to people in a certain way versus any other sort of customized thing. And I can't even tell you what they were. You'd have to show them to me again, but I don't want to do that to everybody. I think it's difficult for us to, or maybe not, to, weigh in on,
Here to join.
every specific, image that's going to go up there. But I would feel very strongly that I think it would be preferential that
Here you go.
they were studio images, like Ron had said. I think that would be, I think that would actually be more effective for you, quite honestly,
Okay.
my opinion.
I think maybe, Matt, we should look at that Warwick one again. It was only, 45 seconds, so we can look
Yeah.
at
Well,
the-
you should look at the Madison one again also, because
Yeah, we probably should. I think you're
Yeah.
right.
Just so you know, the Warwick is a combination,
No, you don't want
a
to.
large restaurant called the Beacon attached to the two-screen cinema. And they operate, and they're owned by the same person, which is why you saw some ads for the Beacon on there.
Okay. I think you mentioned that in your, yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with Ron, by the way, about the messaging. I mean, now hiring, I don't think
we'll do that.
necessarily the worst thing, but I think that you could have a lot of other different messages that would, and again, I'm not familiar with I don't have a letter in front of me, what you described exactly, but I think keeping it limited to the content of what you're selling, be it a musical or opera or whatever.
That's
But here's the
what I'm looking
Warwick one again. Fred, are you on now?
at. I think so.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, good, you're on. Okay.
So we're going to watch the videos again. Did you see them before?
Yeah, I saw them before.
Okay, so we're going to watch the Warwick one, then we're going to watch the Madison one, okay?
Yeah.
Well, that was fast.
Again, this one gets very washed out
Yes.
with the light.
I think that's very homemade looking, and that's not very good. Problem. That's the double message.
Yeah,
It's because the book cover has it on there.
And the
This-
typography is just huge. It's not necessary for people to see that giant typography.
yeah, I think it could be a bit more discreet and
Oh,
still
God,
very visible.
it doesn't have to be twice. And the same here. It's hard to see that image. I don't know what that image.
Well,
That's
again,
his face.
it becomes that light.
Looks like Elvis with somebody else.
It's Elvis, yeah, right.
That movie is very, very good. For those of
I've
you,
read it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I hear. So the typography is just over the top.
yes, those two typefaces were pretty the same. The name of the movie and
Yeah,
when it,
and you wouldn't
so-
even have to say now show. I mean, you wouldn't have to say Elvis twice. You would just have to say now showing with Elvis. But whatever. I mean, I mean, we can't micromanage that kind of thing. I think we just have to decide. You know.
I think you're right.
micromanage that either, and I don't think that you can kind of be critical of the images and how they look on there, or movie titles, or how they match up. And I mean, this is artwork provided by studios.
Well, yeah, but not the typography that you put up next to it. You know, I get the images that they provide.
That we put up now playing Elvis.
Yeah, right. That's the objectionable part. It's so
How can that
large.
be an
and so
objectionable?
over the top.
Really?
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
explain.
Well, it's hard to do that. I can't explain. It's a
I don't think you can.
design issue. It's not a,
proportionality, isn't it?
yeah, right.
And then also the size of the type when you're promoting, you know, I don't know, special things at the cinema, the sort of things that you would punch in, you know, yourself.
Yeah, like special gift cards or
Yeah.
or accepting wedding, whatever.
Yeah, I think they should just be, and I agree with Ron, they should just be a little less sort of in your face. It's a very narrow street, so I think people will see them if they were a little more in proportion, and not quite so.
It's a fallacy from a design point of view that the bigger is better in typography. especially on a black background. And smaller, the people can read it just as well as they can read it large. In fact, it's more pleasurable to read it smaller than it is large.
I think the thing that, go ahead, Fred.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that the screen that will actually be installed is considerably larger than the one that's in use now?
It's the same one, Fred.
It's the same screen that's there, I believe.
It's the same
Yeah.
screen that's there now. Does anyone else think it's a distraction?
You know, we were worried about that, concerned about,
Certain images, I would say certain images are, yes. I would agree with, under certain circumstances, yeah.
well, the fact that they're static for 30 seconds, I think makes a difference. If
I
they were
think so.
and quickly moving from one image to the next, that would be distracting. But
Yeah.
everything being up there for 30 seconds, as you notice watching the video, that's a decent amount of time. You know, so I don't think driving by, that's going to be a distraction.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to think about this in that what you've essentially obtained when you have this moving, changing sign is you really are obtaining, and I don't mean this as a negative thing, but you're really obtaining many signs in one location.
Right.
It sort of reminds me of the old Burma shave thing where you had a sign every 5 feet and they all said something and you went right along, except you're just doing it on one screen, you know? So I where that, you know, where the fairness of that or the equity or the potential issue of opening that door to everybody in town falls, I don't know. I think that's really a regulation thing and a planning and zoning thing. But I do think that having it too frequent is definitely a concern. I counted in my head just 1001, 1002. I came up with the Warwick signs being pretty consistently 4 to 5 seconds based on the way I was counting, how accurate that was. The first one on the Madison was 19 and the second one, the middle one there was 30. I kind of felt the 31 personally was maybe frustratingly a little too long. If there was something else, it's a two screen theater, right? So I kind of would like to know what the other one is.
Well, you can
Well,
have two on the same one, you know,
You're right. You could absolutely do that. You're completely correct about that. So
there's plenty of room.
I don't know where. And one question I do have for you, Ron or John, is, you know, I've walked downtown and looked at the real estate display screens behind the glass in their windows. And I don't know if they still do it anymore, but they used to just change from one house to the next to the next. But that is all a completely different animal because it's behind the glass. Is that correct?
No, those have all been noticed. I've noticed
Okay.
every one of those. Sotheby's has complied. And if you go down
Okay.
there at night, Sotheby's is not on. The other ones don't seem to want to pay much attention to me. They still think they're in a COVID protocol, but they're going to get noticed again. And we're
Okay,
gonna
so
go-
they would have to go through this process that Mr. Blank's doing in
Yeah.
order to have the ability to do that.
That's what they're going to have to do. Yeah.
See, but
Okay.
that's my point directly.
Yeah.
That's my point. There is no way John, you noticed them. On the other hand, if we approve this concept, then they will have no problem doing it. Then you'll notice it'll be overridden and they'll just apply and everybody will have to say yes.
It's
And it'll
possible.
go on and on and on. I think that which is why I go back to the movie stills. And a message, you know, I mean, I don't know what the messages would be, but as far as images and the changeability of things, I think the movie stills are more successful, just from a graphics point of view, even if they were to repeat or change.
I think the size is a big issue relative to what the realtors do in this. I just think that's,
It is.
you know, at some point, a lit sign inside a window sort of gets just mixed up, you know, as you go by with other backlit or lit signage. It's not necessarily as big a deal.
Right.
You know, I think the size of this is sort of makes it special to me.
So here's a challenge for us all. Let's say the Madison Wine Exchange down the road wants to put up a billboard, similar to what's on the theater, with the very same idea.
Good question. Well, I wonder if anyone has explored doing a digital board. I mean, we've had this for what, 2 years, 3 years? I don't know how many years.
Or longer than that.
I think 2017, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
So 2017, was it that long ago? Okay, so 5 years. I don't think anyone has explored putting up another digital sign.
No, they haven't, but it was very static. It was just text. There was really nothing much on there,
I think the
other
thing
than
we
the
got.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so go, Matt.
I think the other thing we really need to consider, obviously, is this specific location. And this is the downtown village district, which is why we're discussing this. I think because it's in a commercial zone, I'm sure we would see Madison Wine Exchange as well. But I think the specific context is also important for us to consider. And I don't think it would be, I'm not saying this is what I'm going to say or recommend, but I wouldn't think we'd be out of line by saying we don't think this is appropriate for the downtown village area. I think that would be a valid opinion if somebody had that. I think since it's been there and since it's not going to change very frequently, you know, I don't see any problem personally with generally what they're suggesting. I personally wouldn't want to see a whole lot of different advertising up there. I wouldn't want to see politicians advertise during the season. You know, I think somebody needs to write maybe some sort of a limitation on what gets put up there.
I
Personally,
think that's difficult to do. You know, when Arnold proposed this, his main goal, the way he stated it originally, was that it was dangerous and tiresome to put a ladder up and change the letters by hand, and that a digital sign would be obviously safer, easier, quicker, all of that. And we agreed. That was the basis of why he wanted a digital sign. The color, the animation, the movies, or images rather, that all was sort of secondary in a way. And we nixed it.
He wanted to have moving images, and that
yeah, he did. Yeah, he would like to see clips. I thought originally because the sign
He
had that
wanted color and flashy stuff. And we said, no. We said,
Yeah.
you came to us to replace what you had. So, I mean, if we're going to expand that, I think it should be more incremental than it seems to me. But
well, it seems like we all agree that the static images from the movie studios, those images that are advertising the movies, we are in agreement with. The issue we have was with the advertising of things associated with the movie theater that may not have anything to do with the movies themselves. And I think that seems to be a little bit maybe too prominent, certainly visually too prominent. And if you're going to do that, I think we would want it to be less than 75 to 25%, actually, because that's, when you think about it, that's quite a lot of advertising. Obviously, we don't want to stop you from letting people know, what's happening in the cinema. That's the reason for the digital board. I'm not quite sure how we can do that
right.
carefully. So, and with consideration of your needs. I don't know, Ron, do you have any way of phrasing that, you think, in a motion?
I don't, other than limiting it to static images. I mean, not static images. I mean, the movie stills, the professionally produced movie stills, and with a tagline, obviously now playing or something like that. Because, and I just think of people like, say, the Madison Wine Exchange or a car dealer or anybody, Sky Vodka on sale today. Who wants to see that coming into town? Or six packs, Bud Light, get it while you can. I disagree with that. So,
And, I would agree with that comparison, Ron. I think that's something that I don't think any of us would want. So that's, I think maybe in my mind, what would make me more comfortable with it is knowing what the actual messages are going to be. They're going to be movie titles. They're going to be still, hopefully, professionally produced, studio produced images. But what are the other things going to be? Because in a sign that's not electronic, you have to choose those things, and everybody gets to look at it and say, okay, yes, that's an appropriate message, or it's not.
Harold, what would be the most important things for you to include as far as letting people know what's going on in the cinema? What would be the minimum that you would?
The discount day,
The discount day?
discount pricing day. Which is important for those people out there that can't afford the expensive price in the evening. And we do it every matinee, one time a day, and every Wednesday, regardless of holidays or whatever. And it has become 25% of my business over in Mystic that seek out a bargain day.
Harold, what would happen if you had a permanent, very tasteful tagline, let's say, at the bottom of the screen, which lets people know that? Wednesdays and afternoons, 1 o'clock, whatever it is, discount. And that would be sort of a permanent fixture. It could be 8 inches high.
Well, I don't know the height of the exact sign, but
Like a banner, a small
Yes.
banner that runs across the bottom.
I think you're now doing what you said you don't want to do, and that's fog up this sign by having too much on it.
No, that would be just a small banner at the bottom. Let's
Small
say a
banner.
black banner with that permanent type.
I think
No.
I don't think it works.
Okay. All right. Just
My
a
own
suggestion.
opinion.
So that's the most important thing for you.
I would say that, and I don't know what other policies that I would, on the Warwick marquee, there was one of the messages right after the fire truck went by and washed it out for a second was the fact that they have similar technology installed in the building, which I did in Madison. I have not marketed it yet, but CIMR technology is a very expensive, highly sophisticated ventilation system that cleans the air, and which we did put in. That may be something that would go on once in a while, because it's promoting safety inside the movie theater. Although I don't think it's a perfect technology to eliminate COVID, which seems to want to hang around longer than we want it to.
I know in the promotions and articles in the local paper, that technology was mentioned a number of times. So I think
Yeah.
people are aware of it. Not everybody, obviously, but it's something that people are aware of.
But when I took the theater, I wanted to try. I was coming out of 2 years of a lousy business, of a lousy forecast on the movie business, and tried to do everything positive to hopefully turn this around. And I will say that over the course of the last few weeks, things have begun to turn a little bit. which is encouraging.
Do you have your liquor license yet?
No, I think I'm being held hostage by the fire chief. It's on his desk. He won't sign it because we haven't completed something.
I see.
And I find that kind of politics not to be very nice, because what he's doing is hurting the theater. But that's what he wants to do.
That'll get resolved.
That should be, I believe, solved, because that installation of the emergency fire system was installed this morning. But I find that type of action to be really
Well,
everything else.
I'm sure it'll get resolved, hopefully to everyone's satisfaction. So just get,
And the one thing I'll just add to that, Harold, is that you're not special. The fire codes are an absolute nightmare. And Sam is very careful about what he does. I personally would be shocked to know it was anything else.
I don't have a problem with the fire code. We got held up because it has taken that long to get parts, to get it built. And
Yeah.
what
Oh
it
yeah.
is-
Oh yeah.
what it
No,
is
I
not.
understand that.
You know, the other problem that we did have, which was with the dishwasher, I take full blame for not planning that when we did the stand. And then when we were called on that, couldn't get a dishwasher for 3 months.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's
Yeah.
been kind of an odd time.
It is. It's a very odd. I've got a dozen projects with those same
No.
problems.
I mean, I am hoping that I can get the piece of paper that I need to attach to the liquor application. So because I think Hartford will approve it
Yeah.
quite quickly.
okay, good. So just getting back to the ancillary elements you want to put on the sign, discount pricing, you said, was important. Out of these listings of things, what else would you say? Special concessions, promotions?
We can eliminate concessions. I happen not to have that letter in front of me. I am not in my office. I got caught out at another theater that I was working on today.
And I think, I don't know, but things like gift cards, and I think that's a standard in every movie theater.
Yeah, it is. We try different things at Christmas time. We usually give free passes for the purchase of a gift card over, $50 or $100. We're very promotion minded, and in today's business, you have to be. I run very, very successful movie theaters. My theater in Mystic is going to outgross 2019 this year. I just took over one in South Kingstown, Rhode Island, and we're 90% through $1 million renovation, and it's already performing above where it should be. We operate theaters that are very conscious of the public. We try to say thank you to everybody. We try to play a great diversity of motion pictures, and I don't think limitation on a few advertising things on a marquee is meaningful.
Well, as Ron said, we're considering precedent. We've been very,
I understand that, and I think that Marblehead did the same thing, and nobody has shown up wanting a big marquee. Again, marquees are part of movie theaters, part of the fabric
right.
of business.
Does anyone else have any other comments or questions? No. Would either Matt or Ron like to make a motion based on what we've discussed? Or would you like me to make it? Hello, guys.
Why
What
don't
do you
make
think,
it?
Ron? What's that?
Let's see what you come up with. I
Who,
can't.
me?
I can't come up with it. No, Liz.
Oh,
Okay.
Liz, okay.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to accept the request to change the digital information on the cinema sign to static color images specifically from movie studios, where they will send images just advertising the movie. And we would like to see a limited amount of advertising. We would like to see whatever graphics are used to be a little less, not as large. I'm just thinking as I'm going along here. Discount pricing. I think you might consider Ron's suggestion. I don't know how it works as far as the, the proportions are concerned. And it seems like we've eliminated special concession promotions, we've eliminated gift cards. And so we have to give you some freedom to choose, but we would like it limited. I don't think we can say anything further than that. And let's see, what else? Have I missed anything?
Are you okay with 20 seconds versus 30, proposing that as it was, as that comment was made?
What, Fred?
Did you want to include the 30-second length of time that a screen would be up?
Yes, 20 seconds instead of the 30 seconds. What do you think of that?
I would be in favor of 30.
30.
Yes, I would be in favor of that.
I prefer the 32. So I didn't include that in that motion, but I would say, yes, the digital sign with static movie images advertising the movies now playing, and to cycle through every 30 seconds and to limit the advertising.
Liz,
Yes,
you said images that the movie theater provides.
yes.
There's a finer point on that, because they might provide the head of Elvis, for instance, or something like one of the images on the Madison Theater showed to the right, and on the left was the homemade sign. So there's
Not a homemade sign, there were letters.
there were lettering, right?
Yes, and that lettering is provided by the digital board.
Yes, that's right. And I'm sorry, that's correct. But that is subject to change. You can change the size of that letter.
Correct.
Right. But the static images, those can be used in many different ways. What I was referring to was the billboard, those two billboard. One was, I think, what was it? I can't remember. The two large billboard signs that were provided by the studio that filled the entire thing. Those were quite nice. I mean, those were very nice. So
Yeah,
it's hard to put a limitation. I mean, it's hard to parse this. It really is.
Could I just one thing to consider. Certainly, I would defer to everybody else's opinion on the frequency. I personally don't think I would have a problem with the 20 seconds for the movie name, and there's still image only. But I think that the other advertising messages could very well be limited to being up there for 3 to 5 minutes at a time, so that they don't become this constant, just sort of in your face sort of messaging, discount, glass of wine, $8.99, or we have,
We're gonna do that.
Sonoma Cutrer, I don't know, whatever it might be. I think that those things maybe could be treated differently. And I don't know that we have the ability to.
Wine pricing, we're not gonna advertise concessions.
Okay, well, whatever. Whatever it might be, I just think that I think the movie information is one thing, and I just think that the other stuff is another, in my opinion. But I don't have a suggestion, and I don't think we're equipped in any way to discuss
Hard to do.
what those limitations might be. I think that's outside our purview.
I think the limitation should be done in a percentage of, if there's eight, you're limited to, two. If there's, from week to week, there'll be a different number of images, depending on how many movies we have, how many events we may have, how many coming soon we may have. So if it's limited to 25% of the number, at least there's a limitation without trying to get too specific. And also doing a limitation that is probably very hard to obey and
Oh yeah, no, there's no question. It none of this stuff is easy to regulate, right, John?
regulate was the word. I'm sorry.
John,
If I can just interrupt here just for a second, we're in the middle of a motion.
Right, I was going to ask you,
Right.
what is that motion?
Liz started a motion, you got hung up on the 20 seconds or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Harold went into a soliloquy on something, but I think we should get back to the motion and wrap this up.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the change in the digital sign to static color images provided by the movie studios that will cycle through every 30 seconds, and a request to minimize the secondary information like the discount pricing. So we don't want an excess of advertising.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
Would limit the amount of theater promotions, not advertising.
yes, okay.
I think advertising is,
Can we say,
No,
Can we-
you're right.
can we say non-movie
Non-movie specific.
specific messaging or something?
yeah, that's up to you. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
No, that works.
I
Non-movie.
like the way you put it though, Liz, just to limit it. I mean, we can't, to minimize it, whatever the right word is, and something like that.
Non-movie specific messaging, I think is just fine. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
I abstain.
you're abstaining. Okay, thank you. Mr. Blank,
Yes,
thank you,
Thank you.
I thank you.
and good luck with everything.
Good luck.
Thank you very, very much.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Harold.
your time.
So we've got two sets of minutes to look at from March the 8th this year and the May minutes. Did you peruse?
I make a motion to accept them.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it. Yeah. I'd like to make to adjourn.
I'll make a motion. We adjourn.
I
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
all.
thanks.
Yeah.